Good evening, all. It is a special Thursday. So it is a special Thursday. We can call it cheap date night. You can call it all of the above. It doesn't really matter. But what it is a special Grammy wrap-up edition because, bad guy, I didn't get to the Grammy special that I was going to do prior to, where I can make predictions and then you guys get the opportunity to poke fun at me if I get them all wrong, which I must say I probably would have gotten plenty wrong in terms of my predictions. But I would say I got most of the bigger ones right, just not all of them uniformly all right. But I got my winners and picks off of, so I will say this. So go to, and I've been telling you guys to move more toward this, but go to my YouTube page, SuperMex's International, and I've begun creating playlists, especially and specifically for music. And so what I've done is the first two you're going to see there are top songs from SuperMex for the 2019 year. And I think I also did, and I really had a good time doing this, some of the top 10 country songs of 2019. And then I will begin to roll out after tonight, with the help of my special guest here, I'll begin to roll out the remainder of the decade 2010s and the songs that I picked that I think you need to listen to. Remember, it's not just let's go to the Billboard Hot 100, let's go to who has the most streams. That's easy and obvious because those are listened to for obvious reasons. They're the most. But I try to give you a little bit of something that maybe you didn't hear. And so for my listener, for my viewer, for our fans, you get the opportunity to maybe take a poke at or listen to something you may not have listened to normally, but it's different. It's still in the framework of popular music and music in general, but it's something you need to expose yourself to as we move into the 2020 decade, which we are in full now. So I'm having fun with that. So again, go to the YouTube page, SuperMex's International, subscribe, and go check out the playlists. In addition, obviously, you get all of the body of work that we've gotten done on SuperMex Nation, the show. And I will say, we are in late January, so we're coming up. I'm going to have to go take a look, but we are nearly at 1 year with my new homeschoolo, homeboyo, KP1 Studios, Matt Production. So we've been with KP roughly in almost a year. I think sometime in February, late February, we'll be at around a full year, and maybe we'll do a special or something. But so I've been here and doing it, and you can get all that content on the YouTube page in addition to like scrolling through the Facebook page, because that's much more difficult. The YouTube channel is much easier to go and pick out the different episodes or topics and special shows that we've done over the course of the last year, and that'll continue in that format. But I need you to go, as we move more of the thousands of views that we get every time we're on air, I need those to move slowly and inexorably toward the YouTube page. Okay, so without any further ado, I'm SuperMex, you know the deal. We'll call it a special cheap date night, but I'm here with my guest and former crime partner, because we've done one show together, Gina Lenee. That was roughly, I want to say, sometime in November of this past year. And we had a good time. That's the first time we met.
Yes, we did.
And I think we were there for like 3 hours.
I think so.
To KP's detriment. He was like falling asleep at the we were there all night. But I don't regret it, because I think the next time I did talk to you, I said, I learned some things from you that I would not have gotten if it were just like me listening to pop music and, traditional ear for me, which would be like, okay, what's on the radio? What do you see that's getting attention or buzz in media and, say Hollywood Reporter or something like that. But you give me a much more technical end from a musical standpoint that I really, want to have going forward, what we talked about. So if we do music stuff, I want to be able to lean on you as the expert in our location in Fresno, California. So I'll let Gina talk a little bit about herself and what she's got coming, because we just talked right prior to coming on air about what she has in store for this coming year in terms of, and maybe moving into the topic for tonight, the Grammy special. So Gina, so what do you got going?
Well, you're very kind to call me an expert. I would not consider myself an expert.
More expert than I.
But definitely a music lover. I'm a musician myself. I support the community and all the arts and the artists that produce that art. So I'm glad to be here tonight.
Plug Harmony House again. Let's do that again.
Okay. Well, Harmony House is my home that I have transformed. It's a 1935 Art Deco home on historic Van Ness Boulevard, which is known as Christmas Tree Lane. Most people know Van Ness Boulevard. And I've been restoring it for about the last 2 years with a dream to turn this into an awesome venue that we could have house concerts, bring in artists of all kinds. Whether you're a painter, you've released a new book, you're a band, you're a trio, or you're a solo artist, but I want to be the kind of artist in our community that supports other artists.
So you're literally opening your house.
I'm literally opening my door, my home, to support those artists. So monthly we host events. Our next one coming up is February 22nd. Harmony House Van Ness has its own Facebook page, so you can always go on there and you can see what's going on. I mean, it's fun.
So plug that, Harmony House.
Harmony House Van Ness.
And so it's a site, right?
Right.
And what's the web address?
It's on my web page, GinaLenee.com, and you can read all about the Harmony House and how it got its name and what the mission is.
Can we pop that up, KP, when you get a chance? So there we go. All right, good to go. So you guys, I want you to go to Gina's page, take a look at everything she's got.
Yeah, there's a tab on there that says Harmony House, and you can see some of the before and after pictures of this home. It was formerly owned by musician and record producer Jeff Hall, that owned Maximus Recording Studios, and was a huge supporter and friend to so many nonprofits and so many people here in our community. And so it had been his home, and he regularly had friends over, bringing their instruments in tow to have just a jam session out by the pool. So we've had some jazz nights out by the pool. Yes, we do. We got a hammock too.
A hammock? Good layout.
But we love having people over. We love meeting people. We love connecting with other artists. So I would just let everyone know, if you're an artist and you'd like to perform in one of Fresno's most unique house concert venues, let me know.
Okay, so what else? Or let's get to, you've got a CD or an album coming out.
It came out actually on my birthday, November 2nd, and it's called Revealed. I'm November.
We didn't talk about that. I'm November.
You didn't ask.
I'm November.
What day?
24.
Okay, 2nd.
You're a Scorpio then.
Yes, I am.
I'm a Sagittarius. Close enough. Okay, good to go. All right, so when did it come out? November 2nd?
It came out November 2nd. I thought my 50th...
Was that intentional?
It was. It was my 50th birthday. I thought, this is a milestone birthday. I'm turning 50, and the milestone would be for the Revealed album. So that was the reason why I chose that date, and I have not yet had an album release night. I will. So that is still.
So what do you get to do for all that? I mean, is that like you can do no limit to put on something?
Right. I'll play my songs from the album.
KP.
So that'll be another evening that we can have. So, but Revealed is out. I'm really proud of the project. I went back to Vermont and worked with Will Ackerman, who owns Imaginary Road CD. A lot of people know Will Ackerman as the producer of George Winston. And kind of the grandfather, so to speak, of the genre New Age, when New Age kind of first came out. So proud of that.
For Grammy purposes,
yes.
Where does you were explaining that a little bit to me? So
where the album fits in the Grammys? Okay, so the Grammy submissions, artists that release a CD from the fall to the next fall. Submit.
That's what I was getting hung up on. It's like, so I want to make sure.
It's not a calendar year.
Right.
Okay. So, for example, I released Rebuild in November. Okay. I can put that on to get nominated to be on the Grammy ballot for next year. So probably around August, September, I'll get an email saying it's time to submit your works for that.
Right.
Okay. And then from there, preliminary voting starts. So my former CD entitled Red Diamonds was on the Grammy ballot for 2018.
In the New Age category?
Right, in the New Age category.
And so this would also be New Age category?
That's the genre that my music fits into. It's a little more genre fluid, I think, than just saying, it just fits in New Age. But for the purpose of the Grammy categories, I'm in the New Age category.
So we definitely need to make sure that we talk about New Age category tonight, because I'm sure you're all on that category.
Sure.
All right. Trying to see the competition.
I will be hopefully on the Grammy ballot for the next year, and with any luck and a prayer and a whole lot of votes from fellow artists that love my music and think it's deserving, I'll get my votes.
Let's do that. So
I'll get the votes.
Like, how do we put our thumb on the scale? How can SuperMex put his thumb on the scale? So we talked just prior to coming on, guys. So that's peer and fellow musicians.
Fellow musicians are voting members. So I'm one of a couple thousand voting members that have the opportunity and the privilege and also the responsibility to listen to the music.
Yeah, you make that sound good.
And
how many people don't listen to music? Probably some, right?
I don't know.
That's a lot of categories. It's a lot of categories.
It is a lot of categories. I vote in about 20 to 30 categories. There's a lot of categories.
So in theory, you have, well, not theory, in practice, you have someone that, and I'll just use the extremes for like the layman, right? Mm-hmm. What we were talking about right prior. You have someone that's strict old bluegrass country. They're a voter. They have to vote on current rap.
No, they do not have to.
They don't have to.
They don't have to.
Okay, but they get a ballot.
They get a ballot. And some genres
My thing is like, are they just throwing darts at the wall and maybe
No, not at all. And something that I really take to heart when I'm listening to the CDs, I have fellow artists that start sending me CDs months ahead and say, I'm going to send you a hard copy. So I have this huge stack of great new music that has either just come out or that a lot of people haven't really heard yet if it's from indie artists.
You get some cool stuff.
So I get to listen to it and process it. And what I think of as a musician, I can listen for how the music is produced. Is it a quality produced piece? So even if it's not a genre that is in my CD changer in my car or on my iTunes and something that I regularly listen to, I take the time because I know what every musician puts into their projects.
So you'll also by ear know if it wasn't thought out, it wasn't, I don't want to say just produced properly, but there wasn't time, effort, energy put into it to make it something good on the part of the artist or producer.
And I can, as an artist, I can respect other people's work, even if it's not in my same style. I'm totally open-minded and I can appreciate. And I think that's what makes music so great. I mean, it is so subjective. It is very personal. It's personal to the artist. It's personal to the people who choose to listen to it. It means something to them. So I want to give the fair amount of time and respect to those fellow artists to really sit and listen to the music before I make those votes.
So that's quite literally like, along with some other things, but that's definitely one of the reasons why I want to be able to, you and I do a show once in a while on music, because you're going to talk about those things, or you're going to have an ear for those things that maybe I don't, because that's not been my life or my profession, right? I haven't done that. But the one thing I do appreciate, and you were just saying this, is knowing when an artist is putting time, energy, effort,
of course, it's your life,
into your work, and you can hear it in what they're producing or what they're putting out. And you know, like, okay, somebody's doing work there. Now, I don't know that genre. I don't listen to that normally. Like, as you say, it's not in my rotation on a playlist or a CD player. But damn, somebody put in some work, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. And so I'd like to think that all the voting members for the Grammys, there are other artists that will look at things in that way and really give the votes to who they feel is well deserving and not just a popular vote.
Right. So far more, I'm being facetious and cruel. So it's not as many people throwing darts at the, well, I got this list and I'm going to pick that one and pick that one. There is effort and thought put into.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, it's serious stuff, right?
It is. I think that we have the responsibility.
I like that. I've never heard anybody talk about the responsibility.
I feel like it is.
But you got to vote though. That's most people.
Absolutely.
Most people, if we got to vote, it's like we're chewing people out, but we don't actually have a physical, technical vote on who wins these things. We can just speculate and do the armchair quarterbacking, in this case the armchair guitar playing, right? Armchair piano playing. But that's like I said, quite literally, to me it's a salient point. I want to be able to talk to someone who has that ear through experience and through a lifetime of work, in your case. Because I don't have that, and so I'm trying to get that. Like I said, in my second life, like you and I are both. We're like in our second life. We're doing other things, and you get this whole. In the old days, like you get to 50, and it's like maybe retiring and moving on. I'm like, hell no, I'm just getting
You're
started.
You're going to start something new,
Oh,
huh?
hell yeah.
Let's go.
I've got, and this another time, another show, but I've got so much that I'm doing or wanting to do, and it's all happening now. And I've said this, and I share this with my audience. My son and my daughter are, technically, they're out of the house, done with high school, and they're into college and other things. And that's, man, I can't tell you. Now, I'll say this again because all my friends that are ex-wrestlers and former wrestlers and coaches, and you know what I'm talking about. Wrestling is hell on coaching. We're up at 5 in the morning, on a Friday or Saturday into the weekend. And then if you're doing club stuff, I won't get into the weeds on this, but if you're doing club stuff, that's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and almost year round. It's almost all year round. In other words, your weekends are gone.
Yeah.
I mean, there were times, as my son was growing and we were traveling all over the earth, getting him to places and competitions where Sundays, when we did get home, I literally just slept all damn day into Monday because we were wiped out. And that was like every weekend. It's just, it's nonstop.
It's a dedication.
It is.
I think for anything that someone decides to really immerse themselves in, there's a lot of dedication there.
Right. Okay. So Revealed will be out the coming year. You will submit it.
It's out right now. I will submit it for the Grammy consideration for a nomination. So, hoping that it will be on the ballot for preliminary votes. And
well, do that real quick before we get started on the body of the show. How does it? So clearly, it's not just something like, hey, here's my work. How does it get selected to be on the main ballot?
Well, I don't know who all is involved with who puts it on the ballot. I do know that there are some criteria that has to be met. To be a voting member, there's criteria that has to be met. And
so clearly you've done that already because you've already submitted. So you know what the mechanism is you need to follow to qualify Revealed after Red Diamonds.
Right. It has to be produced within a certain amount of time. I submit it, and then it will get reviewed. Hopefully it will be on that ballot, and then it will go to preliminary voting. Red Diamonds made it on the preliminary voting on the first ballot, which I was thrilled to see. I did not make it to the final stage of voting, and that's okay. There were
not okay. Do you feel? Watch it, I'm going to cut you off. Do you feel that Revealed is maybe, it's an artist, right? You're picking a child. Do you feel Revealed is a better representation of your work based on what you've already done, therefore better opportunity to qualify and move up beyond the preliminary?
It's my favorite album. It's my 8th album, and so it is my favorite. So I can easily say that.
You've put in work. You put in time.
It's my favorite.
You're getting better at your craft. I mean, at this point, you're not getting worse. You see things.
I hope not. Gosh, I like to think.
Like, I'm getting worse. I'm getting worse. But I think you get my point. Like, through experience and the time that you've spent in crafting 8 pieces of art, right? That you're at this point now. So the thought being, like, for the layman, like, okay, well, if you got to like preliminary stage last time, well then, yeah, you should get that, and then maybe a little bit more.
Well,
it's probably also
of course we'd all love it.
Right?
Everyone that puts in their work, you're dreaming about it, and you're hoping that someday you get that, because the Grammy really is. For artists, musical artists, is kind of the main award that you dream about. I think, and there are a lot of awards, lots of recognition, but I think that the Grammy is kind of something.
That's it. Wow, and I'm just thinking. So I'm correcting myself, but so it's also predicated on how good the competition is.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And there's a lot of competition. I mean, in any one genre, there can be 300, 400, 500 entries in that one genre. I mean, so it's tough. It's
and is it not just is international New Age? Do you have people in other countries creating New Age works? Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, 400 or 500.
Yeah.
That's good competition.
There's a lot.
We'll put together a blood round competition, like for the Fighter's Voice or something, where Gina Lenee facing off against
oh gosh,
duking it out. Okay, let's get to the body of the show. Thank you for updating us and giving us a little background on what you've got, what you've been up to, and what you got coming out. That's probably far more significant, because I'm interested to see how that goes. But obviously, we got a while before you actually formally submit it, right?
Right.
So not till next fall.
It'll be next
Okay,
fall.
so we're going to talk Grammys, and let's do this. So I'll let Gina run on this for a little bit, but so I got some of mine right. I didn't see, and so ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the major categories, what you probably saw on the Grammys broadcast, the live show of what you see on TV, not all the other technical Grammys and other Grammys that go on prior over the course of that weekend. So Billie Eilish was the big winner. She won a ton in relatively speaking in terms of Grammys. I will say like her. Bad Guy was on my top songs of 2019. When I heard that song, I had heard nothing like it. It was different for me. I was like, I don't want to talk about the lyrics. The lyrics are a little crazy, but it was just a unique sound. And so and this is from back, earlier in the past year, right? And it was on, and this is all before the Grammys this past weekend. I chose her. I don't know where I sat. I'd have to go look at my list, but I don't think she was like an 8, 9, 7 or 8 for single. My top 20 songs of 2019. She was in my top 10, I think close to 5.
Okay.
Bad Guy.
That particular song. You
that
love that song.
individual song was, again, I'm going to say it, for the layman. We'll lean on your expertise more as a professional in this field. But for the layman, just a dude, driving and listening to music or working out and I've got a playlist or whatever, it was a unique song and a unique sound to me. And so I will say that, and then I'll let you go, I didn't see her winning that many, meaning all the major awards. I definitely felt like for the song, even though there were other really good individual songs, and maybe not so much for album of the year, I didn't see that. But I definitely felt she would be in the mix for new artist of the year, even though there were other good new artists. So I think I'll leave it at that. But I got what I thought I would get in terms of a win. I thought for sure, she'd be 1 or 2, like right there for Bad Guy. And I have a lot of favorite songs. I'm like, I don't know if you ever watched The Voice. What's his name? Let's see, when Adam Levine used to be on The Voice. I've watched every season of The Voice. Adam Levine's famous for, like, on The Voice anyway, every song's his favorite song. Every song you think, oh yeah, because he has a wide lexicon, catalog of music, a body of music that he listens to. So every time somebody does a song, it could be like old bluegrass, it could be Otis Redding in the 60s, it could be, Motley Crue in the 80s. Oh, I love that song, it's my favorite song. I'm kind of like that, so I like them all, I love them all, I love music. But that one, like I said, I like a lot, and there was a lot. I will stop there because I'm still kind of like processing. I didn't see her winning that many. Go.
Well, I saw her winning many myself.
Okay.
And I wrote down the categories.
Did you?
That
Let me
she
stop.
won in.
So did you? How many did you vote for? Okay,
How-
because Gina's a voter. Gina's a Grammy voter. If you guys didn't catch that, she's a Grammy voter. So that's what I was really interested in doing a Grammy wrap up with you, to see which picks of yours
Okay.
were wrong.
Okay. Well, Billie Eilish, she definitely was in many categories. And for Song of the Year, Album of the Year, Record of the Year, which she won all 3 of those. She won
The big ones.
Song of the Year, Album of the Year, Record of the Year, and Best New Artist. So you got that right.
The Best New Artist.
Yeah.
I felt that she would. I mean, you've got Lizzo. You've got some others that were really good.
There's a lot of new
But
ones out there.
I just said to myself, I think she's going to win the Best
And
New
you were
Artist.
right.
Okay, so
Did
which
you
ones
bet
did
on
you
that?
get? I don't bet.
Oh, okay.
I don't gamble. I don't like doing anything that I don't have control over. That's a bad military guy.
Well, and I think that music has evolved. It's changed so much, even in the last decade, how we make music, how we produce
Correct.
music, how we're promoting music. I mean, the whole world of music has turned upside down, where, now music can be created without instruments. It's digital.
I know.
I mean,
that's what, like, you get into the purist for me, like, oh, I don't know.
And so I'm a purist. I play acoustic piano. I
Right.
can appreciate all types, but that's where I'm at in my music. My music has not evolved into other instrumentation. I've added other instrumentation to it through guest artists that
accompany
have a
and-
cameo
Right.
in my CD. But for me, God, sometimes I think, are there that many kids that are growing up learning instruments and want to play? Well, they don't even have to now to make music, right? To produce an album.
Yes.
It's changed a lot, and the way that you produce it, because her brother, right, Phineas, won Best Producer, which I have later on.
Right.
But while we're talking about them, wow, what a duo, right? And she's 18, and so what I really took note to is when they were up there on stage, they received the Grammy. Phineas says, kids, you can make music in your bedrooms, and you're going to get one of these, and I kind of stopped and I'm like, God, used to be, man, I'm going to work really hard. I'm going to learn an instrument, and I'm maybe someday. I mean, you have those dreams, and it's obviously not that simple.
So when you hear that, and again, the layman to the professional, when I heard that, I'm like, I'm with you there. I'm kind of with you there. But what I heard was, if I get the right app or the right program, I can make music too.
Well,
you get my point?
And I think, you got to say, is it that easy?
Doesn't that scare the hell out of you?
Yeah, it does actually.
Yeah. I mean, for somebody that's put in 50 years of work, right? The thought that, and I'm going to digress for a second, I want to point something out because I just thought of that as we were speaking about it, but the thought is that, and I know we've talked about this, maybe you and I did, but I know I've talked about it on air and on the show, algorithms and patterns of sounds, notes, chords, it's becoming much more formulaic, and studios are getting to the point, at that top end, where if it doesn't meet this criteria for being what a hit is today in terms of the technical and the scientific method of crafting a song, then you're not going to hear it. So what I hear there, or what I heard from Phineas was, yeah, if you got to, we're going to develop an app. If you got a good program for your computer and your synth or your synthesizer, and you put all this stuff together, you can make music too, and you can get one of these. That's what I heard, and I'm saying so.
Well, that's what I heard too,
Yeah.
and not to dilute anyone winning a Grammy. I mean, certainly, congratulations to everyone that won a Grammy.
You're being extremely diplomatic. You're being extremely diplomatic.
But I had, obviously, you have to ask yourself, is this where music is turning? Is this
Correct.
the road that we're going to start going
and that's
down?
a legitimate question.
There's
That's a very, very legitimate question, because I have concerns about that. What
Mm-hmm.
I was going to add to it right before was my son and my daughter had to learn from, the time that they were small, an instrument of some kind. My son's a vocalist. He sings. He's in college, not specifically doing music, but that's part of what he's doing. Got to get the degree first, even though it's not in music. It's some other things. But and my daughter, they were both in choir, developed a vocal instrument, and they both did to a degree piano. Not as expensive as you did, obviously, but they've done instruments. My daughter did guitar, acoustic, and Spanish guitar. So they've all done that work. However, and this is where I was going with it, my son is like enmeshed. I don't know if I talked to you about, I don't like talking about too much, you could make a big issue of it, but he's at Harvard. So the people and the grouping that he's exposed to there, I will go overboard with that school in terms of the mental firepower that's activated creatively. As a matter of fact, he's going to begin to add a program to our network, SuperMex International or SuperMex Nation, and he's going to have a group of his fellow Harvard juniors, and they're going to talk about creativity in arts and entertainment and other things. So he is moving there, what we're talking about, but he's grounded in a lifetime of development of instrument. In this case, vocal and others. He has, and I made him do that. I said, it's like, take your medicine, right? Brush your teeth, take your chores, take the garbage out, do your chores. Do the dirty work, do the hard work. And in that doing of the work, in that experience, you will get to this point and you'll have a background like you. You've done it over a lifetime. You have a skill set that you can't just turn on with an app. But what it's done for him, and I'm not sure if it would for you the same way, but what it's done for him is it's given him a unique perspective, and maybe some of these other musicians are doing the same thing, where they're getting a traditional grounding in an instrument or instrumentation to develop sound, develop music, but they are like like on the Matrix, they see these things coming. Like, all it is numbers and sigils, and like, okay, and you're calculating everything because you see all the information in front of you, based on these algorithms and formulas that are becoming the norm now. And what he and I'm going a little too far here, but what he and I discuss about that is do the dirty work, do the difficulty, the heavy lifting to develop the muscle, and then apply that to these other new methods that are coming, and see if you can alter them and maybe bring them back to home a little bit, or maybe expand it and become something new, something different. So that's what he's doing, and kind of like you, just not at your level, but he's a 20-something-year-old young dude who has done a lifetime of instrumentation, and now he's beginning to take a look at these forms now that we're seeing in music, like what we saw, on the Grammys the other night. So I'm a little fearful that I'm with you there, that kids should get a fundamental grounding in the school system. I absolutely believe that. I think every kid should. I think art is an intelligence, visual and audio. It's a sense, two senses, right? You must develop them adequately, and it expands your capabilities intellectually, cognitively, to do more and see things in a much better light. And let's face it, and you and I have never talked politics, but I think we need some of that right now. I think we need people to think holistically, not unilaterally, with single-minded purpose on some very, very key things having to do with people. And in our case, for what he and I do, my son and I, and my daughter and I, and my wife, it's leadership for us. You have to have a comprehensive vision of what the person is, the body of people are. Music's a big component, for me with that. So give me the ones you did get right, that that you picked in advance.
Oh,
because
gosh.
Again, you get to vote. That's what I want to take advantage of. So you get to vote. So which ones did you vote on that won some of the major categories for the audience?
Oh gosh, and see, I have them kind of all spread out in different. But what I do want to say, in speaking to your point, I really think that music, it's something that can bring people together.
Correct.
And I even see that in different
That
genres.
goes to my point of what I said about people needing to start working together. Because
Right.
music does that.
But I think even when you look at the different genres, the different artists that are starting to team up things that we never would have had before,
Case in
that to
point.
me
Yeah.
that's a positive thing that comes from these kind of collaborations.
Case in
So
point
I
being the
think-
obvious one.
So the obvious one for me was Old Town Road.
Right. So true story on that one. We were on air about a few weeks ago with my crime partners Swainbo and Dr. Manhattan Miller. Names, my nicknames. I'll give you a nickname eventually. So
Oh,
I've got
no.
the names right.
Oh, no.
All good. Those guys are just dudes. The pretty ladies I have on my show, I give them good names, and it's really complimentary. But we talked about. I didn't. True story. I did not know this. I knew Old Town Road. I had heard it, listened to it earlier in the year because it came out much earlier in 2019. I didn't know that the kid was gay, Lil Nas X. I didn't know he was gay, and my wife told me later, like, well, you didn't know because it's not the gist of the music. But my point is that Dr. Miller, and he's a brother, he's an African American man. He goes, did you know, and yeah, a gay black dude in a country song. And he goes, that's different. And I was like, I have to agree, because that's not the norm. That's not using it. And I listen to a lot of country, as I shared with you earlier. I listen to a lot of country personally, and there aren't a lot of black dudes doing country. There are not a lot of Mexican dudes. It's almost, like uniformly one group, one ethnicity, right? But that was a unique pairing. It was different. It worked. It was it was genre bending.
Well, and to me, what I feel that signifies is an open-mindedness that we can take that spirit of that into other areas of our world and work together. Which for me, I feel like we need that more than ever. We are all Americans. I'm all about let's bond together. Let's talk about what makes us alike than our differences. So for me as an artist, I feel that music can do that. It can bridge that gap. And so I was happy to see certain collaborations and
That
certain
was a clear
unexpected
statement.
things for
Yeah.
the Grammys.
I thought that was
a
a
good
good
thing.
statement for them, right? I mean,
I thought
in
so.
terms of the Grammys, it's like, okay, it's a good song. Okay, it's a good song. It's well constructed. Obviously, a lot of work and a thought, effort put into it. Two individuals that have been successful in their own genres
Sure.
and in their own right. One coming up, one that's been there but is having fun coming back, right? The collaboration and the mixing and the melding of genres, I think that one, like I said, that was a statement clearly, like, hey, we're going here. This is going to happen.
Yeah, I thought
It's
it was
gonna happen
great.
More.
Yeah.
That category. What's the official title of that category?
Well, where they won for Best Pop Group Duo. That is what their Grammy was titled. That was the category there.
Are these the? Oh no, this. Okay.
Yeah, and then
Those are the others in the category.
these
Oh,
were
no, these are the other
the
categories.
tribute song that they did. You know,
Yeah,
DJ
another
Khaled,
one
John
that was,
Legend, which I love. John Legend, I love him.
Everybody loves that dude, man.
He's great.
He's easy to love. He's easy to love. But and we'll move on after this one. But one of my favorites of that entire year was "Meant to Be" with BB Rexha and Florida Georgia Line. Another cross of country and pop. And and I'm kind of like I don't know if you noticed, one of my favorite songs of the year, my favorite country song of the year. If you listen to it and you've never heard country, just everything else, it would be a pop hit too. "Girl" by Maren Morris. I absolutely love that song. It's an incredible song, and I think it kind of flew under the radar, even though it was up there and it did some chart numbering. But it was an incredible song. It's a country song, and I remember telling my daughter, I was like, she has like a Taylor Swift 10 years ago. She has the greatest ability to affect a much, much larger audience than just country.
Sure.
And however maybe stay country and not specifically pop, because Taylor Swift is like definitely pop now, right? But that's how I think you get country out to a larger audience. I absolutely, it's on my short list, and that was one of my top 10. It was my number one for the whole damn year, even though there was a lot of good cross-genre collaborations. That one just stood out to me in a big ways, and that's my biggest thing on the country end. You guys can go to my list and get my list.
So were you happy with the ones that won Grammys in that category?
For the most part, yeah. I mean, Dan and Shay won. Okay, so on
Yeah.
air, what you saw, Dan and Shay. Here's the thing. My wife's all over that. My daughter's all over that. They're just like, they're not like old school country to me. I'm a George Strait, Alan Jackson kind of guy.
So you like the traditional. You
want
the good old boys.
I will say traditional. Well, not just boys. I got a crush on Shania Twain. But it's that form that changed and altered in the 90s, actually because of Shania Twain a little bit. It became, she was really the first like pop thing out of country.
Right.
She was massive.
Yeah.
And I got a
Yes,
crush
she
on her
was.
in a big way. But I'm like stodgy old guy like that, good old boy, I guess. Just don't wear a hat, don't do buckles, I do my boots. I'm a George Strait, Alan Jackson, Randy Travis, Clint Black kind of guy. And so these guys like Dan and Shay, they're not country to me. However, I'm getting over my own foibles, right? And appreciating that they're country. They're just not what I grew up with or what I was used to. But that damn song, Speechless, is a classic.
I thought that was
It's
a
a
great.
classic.
I thought that was well-deserving Best Country Duo Group.
Listen,
they
as a
got
female, because I heard this a lot from females, and then they hear that song, they're like, oh, they're doing this like a guy singing that song to me, and like, damn, you make a girl feel good. I wouldn't know, I'm not a girl, but I can see like I may have to do it on here. I may have to serenade my wife with that song. I sing a bit, and I may do that. 'Cause that's a good singing song. So I was good. I will say I was good with country, with the nominees, the ones they
What
chose.
about Tanya
and the
Tucker?
winners.
I haven't seen her for
Oh,
a while,
God.
and
You
to
mean
see
like
her,
30 years?
Yeah,
30 years. I
So
thought that was cool.
and that's something that I loved watching the Grammys this year. I love seeing the ones that have had longevity in their music career. That it's spanned decades.
Yeah.
Barbra Streisand was up for a Grammy. I was happy
Was
to
she?
see. Yes, she
Holy
was. I was
smokes.
happy to see her on the ballot. But the people that really icons in music that have stood the test of time. Willie Nelson. Okay.
I'll go the ultimate step for you. So, and you'll know a little bit more about me after we have this little short this piece here. Little Big Town went up with Smokey Robinson. Smokey Robinson is my dog. I mean, that's a vocalist to me. That is a musician to me for a guy. I grew up on his music. I've loved everything about him. I think he's the smoothest, coolest son of a ever. And that voice, that silky, clean, smooth, beautiful. And I'm not a guy that says beautiful a whole lot. But his voice is incredible.
You could say beautiful. It's okay.
Yeah, he is absolutely incredible. So, to your point, when he went up there with Little Big Town and you get those Grammy moments where you get some absolute classic, iconic individuals.
I think that's great.
And so Karen Fairchild started singing some of his songs in harmony with Little Big Town, and then forcing him to kind of go. I thought that was really badass because I got a crush on Karen Fairchild. I got a crush on everybody, but Karen Fairchild, I got a big crush on her. She's got an incredible voice. So anyway, I really do love when they Tanya Tucker, Smokey Robinson. You saw some others, some iconic.
Dolly Parton was up for a Grammy.
She's timeless.
I mean,
she's absolutely timeless. She's timeless.
The genre that for me was the toughest one to vote on was Best Traditional Pop, and I'll tell you why. Because everybody, to me,
who were the ones in that
stood
category?
out. We had Andrea Bocelli, we had Michael Bublé, Elvis Costello, John Legend, and Barbra Streisand.
Elvis Costello was in that? Oh, wow.
Yeah. So for me, that was the toughest. That was the toughest.
So who did you pick? Come on, you already did it.
I picked John Legend. I did. That was my pick for that. Michael Bublé won. I love Michael Bublé. I play some of his songs.
What did Andrea Bocelli do?
Love.
What was that? Love?
It was his Love CD. Okay. So for me, that was the toughest because, God, all of them were
all good.
Really strong.
Everybody's good.
Okay.
Wait a minute. John Legend and Barbra Streisand in the same category?
Yes. That was Best Traditional Pop.
Okay.
Okay.
And so you voted for John Legend.
I did. Michael Bublé won.
I'm going to back you up. Did you vote for the country group or the?
I did.
Who did you choose?
I did. Dan and Shay.
You picked it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did.
Wonder Twin Powers.
And it wasn't just because I could imagine him singing it to me. That's your deal. But no, I thought they deserve it.
I'm going to say this. Let's drop some serious cultural stuff on the table.
Yeah.
What woman does not like a man who can serenade her? Seriously.
Well, I have one that serenades me, so I'm one of the lucky ones.
Well, then say you definitely like that. I don't know of any woman alive, and maybe there is. I don't know, but I don't know of any woman alive that wouldn't like a guy who can credibly, with a good instrument,
well, let's ask
sing.
your viewers who would love. Here's what we'll do next show. Who would like Richard to serenade you with Speechless? How about that?
I do love country. I true story. If I were if I had chosen that road, because I was really close when I was getting out of the Army, I was going to go to Hollywood or I was going to sing. That's what I wanted to do.
Really?
Dreams. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to do. And to this day, and all evidence, I definitely don't have problems in front of camera or in front of people. And I never have.
I think you need to close out the show tonight with
not tonight. But trust me, there are country songs that I can do that and if they were produced, they can be. I'm not gonna go too far, but they're good. They're really good. I love country, and I like what they're doing. Dan and Shay, they're phenomenal.
So you were happy with the country.
So you got that one right.
Cool. All right. So we can now. I gotta say, the song "Bring My Flowers Now," Tanya Tucker, that gets you right. Music has a power to help you.
We have some people our age on the show that listen and watch, and I'm sure they can appreciate Tanya Tucker. She's incredible.
Well, I think it was beautiful, and like I said, I love seeing the classics. I love seeing the new people come up. I love collaborations with both. To me, I think that we need that.
Let's do this so we're not here all night like we were last time. I'm going to touch rap, and then we'll finish with pop, and then those major categories.
What about new age?
Well, okay, so let's do that first. Before I forget. So who were the New Age winners?
Okay, New Age, second-time Grammy winner, Peter Cater, a friend of mine, wonderful musician, pianist, well-deserving. He got the Grammy.
Is he up for one next year?
Well, he just got one for this last year.
Correct, but I mean, does he have another project coming out where he's going to be?
I don't know.
You got to make sure he's not.
I know. We'll be in the same category. Oh my gosh.
Hey Peter, can you hold off for next year?
I mean, there were some great ones. David Arkenstone, I'm really familiar with him. His did great. I mean, like I said, there's so many great people in these categories. It's really hard
So
to
that's
narrow
your
it
category
down.
specifically, because that's your genre. Give us all the people. So shout out to those people.
So Peter Cater, David Arkenstone, David Darling, Sebastian Piano, Deva Premal. I thought that she was wonderful. Her voice
She's
really
the only female.
ethereal.
Bunch
That's
of
true.
dudes.
She
It's a bunch
was.
of dudes. Thought it was
Yep.
a female year this year.
Well, no.
In general, there's a lot of females winning awards. I mean, all over the place, right?
Yeah, and so, but anyway, congratulations to Peter Cater on Wings. It's a beautiful album.
Okay, so
if
4
you
or
haven't-
5 nominees, and so we need
Well,
to make sure you're in
down
that.
to the final. I mean, there were,
to
probably
choose
100 or so to choose from. Jazz, I thought the jazz was great this year. 3-time Grammy winner, Randy Brecker, trumpeter, won in 82, came back 10 years later, won in 82, 92, and then this year. So I thought that was great too. I love seeing the return of Grammy winners come out with something new, exciting, So I props to them. So let's talk about rap, because I think that's probably something that.
I'll just, because I mean, the ones that are, and Gina and I spent a few seconds talking right prior to coming on the show, that, and this is where it is at this point. I do believe that rap, hip hop has become more of, it's clearly mainstream now. It wasn't mainstream in the 80s and 90s, I can tell you that, because I was living through it and listening to it. Not mainstream, but it is now, so much so that it's almost pop in concept, right? I mean, it's popular music. If you want to just be strict about the word, it's popular music. I don't know of any kid growing up that doesn't know some rap or hip hop. Like all kids, just the overwhelming majority of the population, our population that is younger, knows some rap. And they know this, and they're kind of more fluid about it than we are. I'll say that. They're more fluid. I know my daughter and my son are. They listen to everything. They're way more fluid than the average kid was 20 years ago. So I won't get into like all the wins and the losses. I won't do that. I'll just keep it general. On my list, the ones that I'm watching for, Lil Nas X, obviously, because with Old Town Road, it was the longest running #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 for the entire year, and it was the longest charting #1 for the whole decade. See, I do my homework sometimes. But it was the longest running #1 of the decade, of any genre. Of any genre. Hot 100, meaning like all songs. And I do like him. He's not my favorite. I'm listening for my son's own, J. Cole, that kid, and I do kind of like him, but I'm listening, like going out of this year and out of this decade into the next, DaBaby and 21 Savage. There's a song they do a lot. A lot. I like telling people, a lot's not one word, it's 2 words. It's a lot, and how do you teach people? A little or a lot. You guys learned something. But the song A Lot, that was on my top 20 of the year, all songs. 21 Savage, I like that kid a lot. And so I'll leave it there. Those are my rappers that I'm listening to, because they're telling, and this is what I tell people, is like, they say in country, like it's about telling a story. Rap is about telling a story too.
Oh, definitely.
Rap is about telling your life, your whatever. It's a different form. There's syncopation. There's other mechanisms that make it different than other genres. But I like what they're saying. I like the message and the communication that they're trying to get out to their people. DaBaby, that's another reason. That kid's a freak. But 21 Savage, that song, A Lot. Listen to the lyrics.
Take a listen.
Yeah, listen to the lyrics. And it's just like, oh yeah, why didn't somebody do this before? This is really good. Anyway, so that's my rap. So pop. So Billie Eilish won. Let's do the controversy before, as we wrap up the controversy. So the big ones, I'll say I'll shout out to my daughter here. There's her, Lizzo, Ariana Grande. There are a few other artists that she felt were slighted. She's a big Taylor Swift fan too, by the way.
And
so she
Taylor
always thinks she's slighted.
Was planning on a performance on the Grammy, from what I hear, and she didn't. She elected to pull out from that.
Okay, didn't
And
know that.
so,
My daughter would know that, but
Yeah.
she didn't win much. I don't know if she won any actually. And then so Ariana Grande didn't win anything.
No, which I think most people would have thought that
she's grown on me. I mean, she's always had an incredible little voice, but she's 7 Rings. That was a really unique song. That's really popular, out there. But that one's on my list, and some others. And I am surprised that she didn't win much. Her, because Billie Eilish won everything. Right?
Yeah, right. I love Demi Lovato's performance. I thought that was beautiful.
That was cool.
I thought that was a great moment for the Grammys.
So that one, I'll throw you another one. Camila Cabello singing to her dad.
Yeah. Oh,
I was like, man. Okay.
Yes.
So.
Okay, that was the moment, right? I don't know if I shared with you the
last time when we did our first show together. I lost my pop when I was a little boy, and I was like, man, I'm old school military dude, but that one kind of choked me up because, and I put this on my page. Anybody, any child, any adult, any person, any human being that could unabashedly remove everything and drop to show your love for your father or mother, that's badass. That was badass. And so I was like, oh, she's singing and serenading her dad. And the dad's sitting there like he's about to cry.
He's just falling apart.
I felt bad for him. I'm like, oh man, this is on national TV. Watched everywhere.
I thought it was a beautiful moment. And again, I feel like...
I have more appreciation for her doing that, just doing that, because I do love her music. I love her music a lot, actually. We'll talk about it another time, but I love her music. But her doing that gave me some respect. I'm like, okay, you just get another bump in my notebook for what you just did for your father. That was badass. So, and then the one with Demi Lovato was like, she had to restart.
Yeah,
she had to restart because the getting it out.
Just the emotion, just the emotion. But, I know that it was quite a week for the Grammys, everything surrounding that, all the drama that was surrounding that. And I think that what came of it was a really beautiful night that was a tribute to music. I do want to pass on congratulations to everyone that won. I thought the host, Alicia Keys, did a beautiful job of keeping the mood positive and light. And I felt like there were several really nice moments in the Grammys that really got you to think of what's the most important thing. And of course, Alicia a tribute Keys, to Kobe. And
she said all those things to open up. And aside from being a pretty lady, she's just a gorgeous human being. You could feel it coming out. She loves people. Loves people in general. Comes out in her music.
That was great.
Aside from, like I said, the moments, would you say, and I think I'm there, would you say that this Grammys was better than the average?
You're putting me on the spot. I think for different ways. Although this year of Grammys, I didn't see a lot of the big names, some of the big performers that I'm used to seeing, that I seeing.
I think some of them definitely. So some of them in pop I think are changing, because I was doing a lot of analysis and research. Eggheaded, Katy Perry, Rihanna, Taylor Swift, the women that have dominated for like a decade. Not really there.
Right. I mean, there was really an absence of a lot of the people that to me, when I think music, and I was making a point to my friend, because we actually had a Grammy watching party for my friend Jody's birthday, so it was kind of fun. So we were kind of watching that, and we were talking about, could you imagine being at the Grammys when Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, all these big names that you really think of, wow, these people are amazing.
That are symbolically
very iconic music, people that we really think, these are the big names. So
I think for me it's altering, it's changing.
It is
right
changing.
In front
music
of our eyes.
Is changing.
And so I think that's more indicative. I did like it. It is one of my more favorite Grammys over the last number of years. I really, for some of the performances that we just had, and there's always a good performance, right?
Right.
But there were more than a few. And there were more. There were some that were really, really significant that people will remember for a long time going forward. I still think, like the history teacher, right? What will this be in 10 years? I still think that way. But the choices and the wins, it's signaling to me where things are moving or how they're changing, and they are definitely changing. Like I said, I've been a big fan of, like I said, Katy Perry, Taylor Swift, Rihanna, and some of the other name ladies that we've watched for a decade. Not so much. They're going to have to do some things to stay relevant and in the mix, because you got some people. It's always that thing, right, where somebody's coming up. They don't care what you did in the past. or 10, 20 years ago. They want your stuff
Yeah,
now. They want to
now.
take it from you.
What are you
So I
doing
do
now?
think that alteration, is taking place in real time, as we speak. Final thoughts on what you saw in terms of the winners.
Well, I think that it's exciting where music is right now, where it's going. I'm excited to be a part of it in some small way. I just think that music is what can keep us together as a people. It forms a unity that we so need. So I see a lot of things that come good from the music. I mean, it has helped me to be a little more open-minded to listen to new genres, get to know these artists, and so I've enjoyed having the ability to do that.
I do envy your ability to get all that music.
It's really
when you're
fun.
making choices.
Yeah.
Oh, that's got to be cool as hell, because you're getting stuff that I may never see. So I'm envious.
That's true.
Because I think that's really cool.
And I did, in close, you asked me to bring you something from the Grammys. So I brought you something back from the Grammys when I attended in 2018.
Okay.
It's gold, just like a Grammy. And I just thought you really need something that I brought back from the Grammys. There you go.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I didn't
these
see
were
that.
the shoes that I wore all day on the Grammys, and what a lot of people don't realize
Oh
is
my
that the
God.
Grammy celebration starts early in the day. What we see on TV is the last end of the day.
With these on, what are you, like 6'50",
Something like that. I don't even know, but anyway. So there you go.
Okay, I don't get surprised too much.
There's your souvenir from the Grammys.
I don't get
2018.
surprised too much, but I didn't see that coming. Surprises are good. Okay.
There you go.
You got me. Guilty as charged. Okay, so great thoughts. Thank you again, as
You're
always.
welcome. Thanks for
We got
having me.
to have a little bit of fun. I do enjoy, like I said, talking to you, because you have some perspective, and I've been doing that with a lot of KP's friends, with ladies that have different perspective than mine, because you're going to have different perspective, and that's quite literally the nature of what we want to build going forward, is differing views, different perspectives, and then getting to hear, and then fleshing out for our audience, for our listeners, for our viewers, and letting them know that there's a big world out there, but you need to expose yourself to it, and you have to be open-minded enough.
Got to be open-minded
to experience.
You've got to grow. You've got to grow as a person.
Right.
If you're a musician, grow as an artist.
So you and I are probably in the same place. I mean, like in terms of like an age, right? We won't get into the specific number of ages.
I said my age. You haven't said your age.
I'm not quite 50. Creeping on
okay.
it. Going to be 50 this year. So.
Your baby. You're the baby.
Yeah, you got me. But let's say half a century, right? I do feel like my best is now coming, like right now. I look at it like 50 years of living, learned a lot, done a lot, been a lot, been beaten up and down, literally sometimes. But I've lived a big, full life, and now I want to bring all that together, and those experiences help younger people and other people expose themselves to other things. And so we're going to continue to do music. I'll always do music. We do also now, film and television and other social aspects of America that bring people together.
Right.
Because if all we did was listen to politics all damn day, we'd be at each other's throats, which we kind of are. But I do politics, and I think I mentioned this to you. I do politics. It's succinct, it's to the point, it's honest, it's straight. I have no preferences or biases. I'm a constitutionalist. I believe in my country. I will die for my country, even now if necessary, for the principles upon which it's founded. But underlying it all, the social things that we are as people, day to day, the way we live, those things are critical in keeping us together going forward, lest the other things tear us apart. So thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. Enjoyed being on the show.
Thank you for the work. I forgot my notebook first time in I don't think I've asked KP. I've never forgotten my notebook on doing this show with nearly a year with him. I was like, that was odd for me. Anyway,
right.
thank you guys. So we will be back on tomorrow for the traditional regular cheap date night, not the special. But we will be back on tomorrow night, and look forward to going into the weekend. So going into February, we're going to begin the full suite of multiple shows, multiple programs on SuperMex Nation, SuperMex International. You're going to get more than a show a week. You're going to get multiple shows throughout the week from a lot of different perspectives, and not just me. They're going to look like all shape, shape, sizes, colors, differences, and views. all good, but designed with the intent for what Gina and I just talked about, is to expose you and to show you that there are other things and other ways of doing things that you might not be open to. We're just asking you to give them a try, give them a listen, and then once you're done, you make your own choice. I've never told people how to move or do things here, unless it's like life-threatening, right? But I don't do that. I give you information, I educate you in a good way with no malintent, but with legitimate, fact-based information. And then, ladies and gentlemen, you got to make your choice as to what you feel is right and what you do with yourself going forward. So that's it for tonight. Thank you again, Gina. We'll be back on tomorrow. That is SuperMex Nation on a cheap date night with Gina Lenee, our Grammy wrap-up. Thank you guys very much. You guys have a good evening.